जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 21, Conversation between the Manu and Kardama. From the text 44. In shores abounded with the deer, boars, porcupines, gravens, elephants, baboons, lions, monkeys, mongoose, and musk deer. Text 47. Entering the most scared spot with his daughter and going near the sage, the first monarch, Swayambhuva Manu, saw the sage sitting in his hermitage, having just propitiated the sacred fire by pouring oblations into it. His body shone most brilliantly. Though he had engaged in austerity penance for a long time, he was not emaciated uh, for the Lord had cast his affectionate sidelong glance upon him, and he had also heard the nectar flowing from the moon-like words of the Lord. The sage was tall, his eyes were large, like the petals of a lotus, and he had matted locks on his head. He was clad in rags. Swayambhu Manu approached and saw him to be somewhat solid like an unpolished gem. Text 48. Seeing that the monarch had come to his hermitage and was bowing before him, the sage greeted him with the benediction and received him with due honor. Text 49. After receiving the sage attention, the king sat down and was silent, recalling the instructions of the Lord. Kardama then spoke to the king as follows, delighting him with his sweet accent. Text 50th. The tour you had undertaken, O Lord, is surely intended to protect the victorious and kill the demons, since you embodied the protection energy of Sri Hari. Text 51. When necessary, you assume the part of the sun god, the moon god, Agni, the god of fire, Indra, the lord of paradise, Vayu, the wind god, Yama, the god of punishment, Dharma, the god of Priti, and the Varuna, the god of presiding over the waters, all obeisances to you, who are none other than the Lord Vishnu. Text 52 to 54. If you did not mount your victorious jewel charity, who who were who were present straightened clutches, if you did not produce ferocious sound by the strangling of your bow, and if you did not roam about the world like the brilliant sun, leading the huge arm, whose trampling feet caused the global of the earth to be trembled, then all the moral laws growing the varnas and ashramas created by the Lord Himself would be broken by the rogues and rascals. Text 55. If you give up all thoughts of the world situation, unrighteousness would flourish for men. Who hankers only after the money would be unopposed. Such miscreants would attack and the world would perish. Text 56. In spite of all this, I ask you, the valiant king, the purpose for which you have come here, whatever it may be, we shall carry it out without reservation. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of Canto 3, uh, text 21, entitled Conversation between the Manu and Kardama. Thank you, Guruji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Madhuri. Yeah, Sri Krishna Prabhu, whenever you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Radharani Mataji. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Sikshashthamekam Purusha Puranam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sariradari Kripambudirtamaham Prapadye. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we are seeing the wonderful chapter, the meeting between Swayambhu Manu and Kardama Muni here. So yesterday we have seen how Kardama Muni actually met the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord personally came to the Bindu Sarovar, and he was speaking to Kardama Muni. And because of his Kardama Muni's austerity, purity, and his meditation, Lord appeared, and he also gave specific instructions that how Swayambhu Manu is going to come, and he is going to bring his daughter Devahuti and give her in marriage to Kardama Muni. So this was the conversation, and Lord also blessed Kardama Muni. So because of his austerities, his entire body was emancipated. By his glance and blessings, now he has regained his fully bodily beauty also. So now today from verse number 44, we are continuing. So the beauty of Bindu Sarovar also mentioned here. When Swayambhu Manu is entering this place, what he is witnessing in Bindu Sarovar, what kind of place is it, what kind of plants, flowers, creepers, and what kind of birds, all of that description is very wonderfully given here. So now in the verse number 44, what kind of animals that he is witnessing, that is also kind of saying it. So here it is said that Tataiva, so after that, likewise, so he saw musk deer. Like musk deer is not generally found in every forest, it seems. But places like Bindu Sarovar, they have musk deer. And the musk deer produces a certain kind of aroma from their navels. And, it's very, very intoxicating. And then it is mentioned here, another Gavaya, Swavit Gavaya Kunjaraya. So Kunjaraya, we all know Kunjaraya is an elephant. Gavaya is a type of a cow. So here Prabhupada makes a point that this cow is a special cow because this cow tail, it has a bunch of hair, and this hair in the tail is used in the temple as a chamara for the deities. So this now also this it's still being sold in some special markets, it seems. So it's very special. And also the kasturi, that musk, and this chamara is basically very high in demand for deity worship. So and then he is also elaborating other animals like Gopuchair, Haribir, Markair. Markair is like monkeys, Nakulai, mongoose, and then Nabibi, like the musk deer. So all of these animals are basically roaming around in the Bindu Sarovar forest. Now the Swayambhu Manu is entering the most sacred place along with his daughter. So here it is mentioned that Pravishyata Tirthavaram. So Tirthavaram is like the most best of the sacred places. And who is entering? Adi Rajaha. Adi Rajaha is like the first king of this Manmantra. So the Swayambhu Manu is basically, there are, in the one day of Brahmaji, there are several Manus, they come and go. So Manus are basically the kings. So in Bhagavad Gita also it says that the Surya Bhagavan gave this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to Manu, and Manu gave to Ikshvaku, Ikshvaku gave to so all of the subsequent citizens and all the kings. So like that, the Bhagavad Gita parampara system is coming. So here, Manu Ikshvakuve Bravit. So Manu is basically the first king who is in this Manvantara. So is mentioned as Adi Rajaha. So, and then he is coming along with his daughter, Saha Atmajaha. So, along with his daughter, so he is coming to this place of beautiful place of Bindu Sarovar to meet Kardama Muni here. So now, so in this verse, basically there are several things mentioned here. So Swayambhu Manu, he saw that sage is basically, he's sitting in his hermitage, in his small cottage. Just now he has completed the giving oblations to the sacred fire. So that means a very auspicious time. He is not interrupting in any of the duties that Kardamani is doing. He just completed his auspicious worship in the sacred fire, and he's just sitting, so it's a perfect time that he's entering and into the ashram. So now he's the way that Swayambhu Manu is seeing, that is also mentioned here. Like when he's seeing Kardama Muni's body is very brilliantly shown. So even though he performed austerities for many, many years, so how he regained his bodily posture is by is mentioned as by the glance of the Supreme Lord, by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, he is regained his full beauty. So it is also mentioned here that his eyes were also looking very brilliant, and he was not emancipated, because generally after austerities, for several years, your body completely gets emancipated. But another thing is mentioned is he has heard the nectarian words of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord personally spoke to Kardama Muni. That is another reason why he's now is regained his complete beauty is mentioned, and it is said that the sage was very tall, and his eyes were large and beautiful like a lotus petal. And generally, like sages have a matted locks, so here also Kardama Muni has matted locks in his head. He was clothing just with some rags, and now it's mentioned that upasham shritaya, like just he came closer, having approached, and malinam yatarhanam asham skrutam. So it's like a gem. If you take a diamond, unpolished diamond, it doesn't fully show its it's a full glittering diamond quality. So similarly, Kardama Muni is seeing that even though Kardama Muni is looks very, very personality is so effulgent personality, he still sees that he is hiding. He's not fully showing his full effulgence. So he is kind of soiled, just like in the first canto it is mentioned that Sukadeva Goswami also, when he was walking, he was kind of hiding his effulgence. He was, so like that, the same is mentioned here for Kardama Muni. So, so now purport, in the purport, Prabhupada mentioned several points. So how the brahmachari, so seeking spiritual elevation, is actually offering sacrificial oblations to Supreme Lord. So So now here Kardama Muni is basically a brahmachari. So he has not entered into Grahastha ashram. So now he is a brahmachari. So he is also offering sacrificial oblations to sacrificial fire. So this is the first duty of the brahmachari, seeking spiritual elevation. It's mentioned as huta sana. So this is a term in Sanskrit. So in the brahmachari ashram, Prabhupada mentions that one cannot sleep until 7 or 9 o'clock in the morning. They must rise early in the morning, at least 1.5 hours before the sunrise. So that is basically Brahma Muhurta time. So after waking up in the Brahma Muhurta time, one should chant the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And Chaitanya Maha is referring to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that how this holy name can destroy all the ill effects of Kali. Kalu nastyeva gatiranyataha. And also he's saying brahmachari after chanting holy name of the Lord, here Kardama Muni looks like he has performed several great austerities. So again, another quality of brahmachari is he performs several austerities. He takes the vow of celibacy. Like this, the several austerities are performed. This is another quality of brahmachari. So, so here the word vidyotamanam. So here it indicates that the brahmachari feature is showed in this body. So now, like when Swayambhu Manu is seeing, his glance, he's seeing a perfect brahmachari in Kardama Muni, and that word here used is vidyotamana. So that feature is showed in his body. This is another, Prabhupada saying this is another kind of a certificate that he has undergone a great austerity. On the contrary, Prabhupada says that one who is engaged in drinking or smoking or illicit sex can never be eligible to practice yoga. So this is in this worldly context. Another word Prabhupada using is snigdha pan gavalo kanat. So he was very fortunate to see the Lord face to face. And he looked very healthy because of the Lord's nectarian words and his Lord's glance upon him. So these are mercy from the Lord. So for Lord, everything is a mercy, right? In Brahma Samhita also, Lord Brahma says that for Lord is actually, so all of Lord is absolute. So his speaking, his glance, his just darshan, everything is a mercy only. So similarly here, he has received all of these three. So because of that, he has regained his full effulgence. Now, in Prabhupada makes a point that many grahasthas and brahmacharis in ISKCON have improved their health and beauty on their faces similarly by chanting the holy name of the Lord and by following this Krishna conscious process. They also regain their spiritual beauty. So this is another compassion from Prabhupada's side that he's making this point. So he's again making this comparison that a gem, unpolished gem, is a very appropriate here. So all of the devotees who joined ISKCON were like unpolished gem. Now, because of this spiritual practice in Krishna consciousness, that we have all regaining our original Krishna consciousness, by which our effulgence, spiritual effulgence, also showing in the bodily beauty and face effulgence. So now going on further in verse number 48 onwards, now the sage is, Kardama Muni is saying that, okay, Swayambhu Manu is approached Now he's remembering. Okay. Now Kardama Muni is approached, and Swayambhu Manu has greeted him because he's a Brahmana, he's a sage. So he's giving due respect. The king is giving due respect and greeted him. Pranatam Puraha. So he's bowing down before with Saparyaya. So with honor, he's bowing down before the sage. So now the sage being on the Brahmana platform, he is also reciprocating by giving due blessings to the king. So generally they give blessings to the king, let your kingdom flourish, let you live long. So like that, here also Kardama Muni is giving blessings. Now the sage has taken a seat, asana. Now he is sitting down. Now Kardama Muni is recalling the instructions. Smaran Bhagavat Adesham. So Lord's instructions he is recalling. Kardama Muni is recalling. And now Kardama Muni is basically speaking. So recalling and speaking. So Nunam now. So Kardama Muni is saying that Swayambhu Manu has taken this trip, basically a tour, that he is saying from a Kshatriya flat perspective. Swayambhu Manu is a king. He says Adi Rajaha. So from his perspective, he's came out of his kingdom headquarters. Now he's touring his kingdom. So basically, he's touring his kingdom, and he is in the Bindu Sarovar. Now Kardama Muni is saying that the tour that you have taken, that the trip that you have taken, is definitely to protect the virtuous. So here is saying that Nunam Chankramanam Deva Satam. So Deva is basically the virtuous people or demigods, all of those virtuous, Deva Satam. So for the protection, Sams Rakshanayaya. So for the protection of the virtuous people, and on the contrary to Te Vadaya Cha Ashatam. So on the contrary to kill the demons. So this is again the Supreme Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, that Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Cha Dushkrutam. So he protects the sadhus and devotees and destroys the demons. So similarly, the Kshatriyas they are the representatives of the Supreme Lord. So they are also giving same protection to the sadhus and the virtuous people. So same thing here he is mentioning. So now, as a Brahmana, now Kardama Muni is glorifying, is also glorifying with appropriate words how Swayambhu Manu is giving protection. So now, in the Prabhupada also makes several points here. So the kingdom, generally like a king, or like in this now modern world, we have Prime Minister, President. They are supposed to come out of the headquarters and take tour in several places to see how the law and order situation, to punish the miscreants and to protect the virtuous people. So this is the duty of the king. So Prabhupada makes point, and so here another point he makes is in the age of Kali, like Kali Yuga now, it is very difficult to see head of the state who is expert in punishing the miscreants. They are generally on the punishment side. People are very Hrudaya Daurbalyam. So the word used in Sanskrit is like the weakness of the heart. So when they punish the miscreants, they are very weak. They feel compassion at that time. But when really that is actually called in Sanskrit is Hrudaya Daurbalyam, like the weakness of the heart. So such heads who can really punish the miscreants is very hard to see in the Kali Yuga. So, but on the other contrary, they are, punishing the innocent persons without any reason. That such kind of thing is going on in the Kali Yuga. So Prabhupada makes a point. And going on further, now Kardamani is glorifying, that his superior Swayambhu Manu is a king and he's ruling the planet. Now he's remembering Lord Vishnu. So he's remembering Lord Vishnu, and he's giving a due position to Swayambhu Manu as a representative of Lord Vishnu. And he's saying, just like Lord Vishnu powers are unlimited, and you also assume different positions when necessary, like sun god, moon god, Agni, Varuna, Indra, Chandra, Yama. So all of these positions, Yama Dharma, Pracheta Sham, so the god of piety. So Rupani Sthana Adatse. So you can assume when necessary. You assume like that he is remembering the Supreme Lord and glorifying Swayambhu Manu here. So now again Prabhupada makes a point here. He is not equating Swayambhu Manu with the Supreme Lord. He is basically as a representative of the Supreme Lord. The king is actually, ideal king is always calls himself as a Supreme Lord servant. So in that position, so he, whatever is the Supreme Lord's order, he takes, he basically takes those orders and executes the orders. So as a very faithful servant of the Supreme Lord here, Swayambhu Manu is also, he takes on different positions for the purpose of the Supreme Lord's pleasure. So, and then in the verse number 52 to 54, again, he's glorifying Swayambhu Manu, so how he actually came in his very brilliant chariot, which is bedecked with jewels, and he's chasing after the culprits. So, and then he's also, from a Vedic perspective, he's giving the importance of the king. So the king, if king is actually not there in the Bhagavatam, also several places when the king was missing, all the thieves and rogues, they flourish. So the kingdom becomes like a very hellish condition. So the king is very, very important for the purpose of giving protection to the citizens. So similarly, so here Kardamani is saying that if you did not actually come, take your chariot and tour, your kingdom, then with your arrow, you produce that fierce sounds. Then what would happen? This earth would actually be threatened by culprits with all their presence, and all the laws of varnas and ashramas will be destroyed by rogues and thieves. So again, Prabhupada gives elaborate purport on the varnashrama system, how this Brahmana, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Kshatriya, Sannyasi, and then 4 ashramas and 4 varnas. So Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, and this Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya, Shudra. These 4 varnas and 4 ashramas, how the society was made to wonderfully exist. This system he's basically mentioning, and he's also saying that Arya, the word Arya is basically advancing. The society is advancing. So advancement is basically on the spiritual platform, not on the material necessities of the life. So those points Prabhupada mentions, and so here also he says that how this 4 varnas were created by Krishna himself, by Lord himself. Chaturvarnam maya system guna karma vibhagashaha. So he says, Tasya kartaram api mam vidhi akartaram avyayam. So Lord himself says that, I created this 4 divisions and 4 societies according to the work, according to the nature, 3 modes of nature and work prescribed. And Lord, he says that I am actually not doing anything, but still, this system I only created. So now, especially here, Kshatriya's qualities are being glorified, and now Kardama Muni is saying that adharmascha samedeta. So unrighteousness would flourish otherwise if you don't actually take up your weapon and go tour all the places. And miscreants would actually attack, and the world will come to an end. The world will perish. So it's very important, like how important is Kshatriya is giving very, very important points here, So he's saying complete world would perish if Kshatriya doesn't actually does his righteous ruling. So finally, and then in the verse number 56, is basically concluding by saying that Atapi prache tvam vira, like now I, humbly ask you, what is the purpose that you have come here, So it's a very beautifully is elaborated that how Kshatriya is so great and why he is touring the whole kingdom, and what is the duty of Kshatriya. And now finally he's basically putting forward the purpose that he has come to his cottage, Kardama Muni's cottage. So I think with this, is already 7:31. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yeah, with this will conclude today's session. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kupasantabhyevacha Padatanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.